Hey everyone, my name's Chris Lambert, co-host of Watching the Throne, a lyrical analysis of Kanye West, the #1 Kanye podcast. And this is the Kanye West news rundown for Monday, July 16th, 2018. And coming in at the end of a weekend, you know it's going to be busy. So I'm going to try to get through this as fast as possible. First up, Kanye had some tweets. He had been a bit quiet following the June rollout of the 5 albums. So he had tweeted that Yeezy is an organization ran by the creative make the final decisions here. I think the implication being that it's not all about business, it's not about bottom line, all of that. It's about the creative, the best product, the best art, which can be boom or bust. You know, having that in mind can lead to a lot of greatness, and it can also lead to a lot of financial turbulence, which I think is something that we've seen be part of Kanye's musical career, just life in general. As he said, he was $53 million in debt. Well, we know his net worth was greater than that, so it's not like he was just completely out of money, but having $53 million of debt due to all of his music videos, fashion, all the shit that he puts on and does. I mean, he made a lot of money too, but I think that's contrast to what you see with Jay-Z, where Jay-Z seems to do everything with that kind of business-oriented mindset and kind of balances art or creativity and business a bit more, where Kanye just goes full creative, which I wonder if that was some of the issues on Watch the Throne for the tour. That Kanye wanted to do a big tour the way that he had done with Yeezus, where Jay wanted to have the costs and overhead be as simple as possible, so as in order to maximize the amount of money they were getting from the tour. And then they settled on something that made both of them happy, and then led to a fight that eventually caused them to no longer be friends. Now I'm sad. Wholesale is dangerous for creatives. Which I would just take to imagine is something in the way of cheapening the product to try to make it wholesale, or kind of selling out what you're doing for quantity rather than necessarily quality. And then when in doubt, don't, which probably gets at Kanye's belief of confidence in self, trusting the gut, going off of emotion and energy. If you're getting that negative energy, run with that and don't follow up on whatever's giving you that negative energy. Creatives need each other. Very, very true. You know, it benefits writers to talk with other writers. It benefits artists of all ilk to have other artists to talk to about that life, the work, the craft, all of it. Need this rug? Yeah, he needs a rug. But it's funny that he's using somebody else's phone, and like he took a picture of the phone instead of just screenshotting it himself, which might just be because he's not on Instagram anymore. So it's just shown something or saw something and was like, yo, let me take a picture, which is pretty hilarious. Whenever you're feeling down, bored, irritated, or disgruntled, just say, thank God I don't have a sinus headache. They feel like the episode of Black Mirror when the bee went into the guy's ear. Yeah, that sucks. I had a sinus headache on a flight once, and I got a fucking CAT scan because it was so bad. Music is an art form. Oh, this is a big one, which I think I might do a little bit of a shorter breakout episode on these tweets. But music is an art form. When reporters call me the singer, the rapper, even the pop star, there's an air of condensation and patronization. Those kinds of journalists are acting like they're better than us. It's just another example of elitism and classism. If you read Prince or Michael's Wikipedia, their title is recording artist. Moving forward, anyone working in music should be referred to as recording artist. And this one was a bit more controversial. You can see had a lot of tweets on it. But there were a lot of people with check marks weighing in a way that people with check marks, I don't think, typically weigh in on Kanye stuff, and just other reporters speaking up and speaking on it. So interesting tweet. And then the universe is on our side. I'm so excited, which maybe there's news coming down the pipeline that we'll find out, or just a general positive vibe that Kanye is throwing out into the world. But Twitter stuff over, let's get into the rest of the Kanye news. So first up, that's not the article that I wanted. This is the article I wanted. Fucking complex. Here's why Kanye West, the college dropout, disappeared from Apple Music. And citing good old Team Kanye Daily. And LDubs57 got told by Apple that the record label pulled the album from Apple Music. And Complex goes on to say, this means Apple subscribers like myself no longer have streaming access. Def Jam initially appeared to have made the decision. However, in a statement to Stereo Gum Monday morning, Def Jam blamed the disappearance on a supply chain glitch and confirmed they were working to reinstate the album for subscribers. Supply chain glitch? That just sounds like euphemism for someone fucked up. I've never heard of a supply chain glitch happening before. Maybe it's happening now and it's as simple as that, but it seems weird that it has lasted for days, right? Almost a week, rather than just being like, oh, hey, it's gone. Let's fix this. I mean, it could just be that it's a massive amount of data and programming that Def Jam has to sort through to find out where the glitch is. Or it could just be that someone fucked up, which I think somebody fucked up. Vox has this article by Lux Alptrum. Sorry, Lux. Why it's damaging to blame celebrity meltdowns on mental illness. Pete Davidson, Kanye West, and the damaging way we talk about celebrities and mental health. So I know that there's been a growing culture, the same way that there are Kanye fans that really like Kim and Kanye fans that are into fashion. Kanye has brought a whole topic of mental health into the realm of Kanye fandom. So if you're somebody that's interested in mental health and Kanye, then this is an article that really gets into that and gets into it in, I think, more of an objective way than what we've been seeing, and more of a responsible way of having a conversation about it, rather than some of the polemic discussions that we've seen other outlets produce. So if that's your cup of tea, this is a great one to read. GQ bringing in some Kanye to give a shout out to Akira. Happy birthday to Akira, Kanye West's favorite anime, which is very true. Joshua Rivera points out that if you like Kanye West or a giant nerd, you would have very quickly realized that the video, and this is the video for Kanye West Stronger, is not just a very sci-fi take on West lyrics, but a fan film based on Akira, the seminal 1988 cult classic by director Katsuhiro Otomo that was released 30 years ago today. And legitimately, it's just like Kanye wanting to make an Akira fan film, which is pretty cool. And then the rest of the article just talks about Akira and why it's amazing. But Kanye had said at one point on social media that Akira and There Will Be Blood are his two favorite movies. And I just have this dream of one day getting to watch both Akira and There Will Be Blood with Kanye, and just having kind of an interview podcast episode. It's just us talking about those movies and why they're so fucking awesome. If you've never watched Akira, go watch Akira. Haven't watched Akira? Go watch Akira. From Cosmopolitan, there's a sex move called the Kanye Wested, and it's brutal. This is by Katie Stowe. And I don't know. I feel like we could come up with a better sex move than this for the Kanye Wested. It's a whole lot of preamble with this one paying homage to the dude with more big dick energy than you can shake a stick at, Kanye West, which I never thought that's a sentence I'd be reading out loud on YouTube for people to watch. So the Kanye Wested move involves pausing mid-bang to talk about a past penetrator who was, simply put, better at sex than them, then continue. So I imagine this is when you're on the receiving end of sex rather than the giving end of sex, as it says, a past penetrator. And just saying, like, I'm gonna let you finish, but blah, blah, blah had the best bang of all time. Something like that, you know? Which really would be off-putting. You know, you're in the middle of trying to give a great performance, and all of a sudden you're being called out that somebody else is better than you. I mean, some might find that the motivation they need to take it to another level, really go Super Saiyan in the bedroom. And then others would just wilt like a Yamcha. And so that would be devastating. Actually, when I first read it, I thought it was different. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. I wouldn't recommend trying it. Don't do that. Tell people about it, laugh about it, but don't do it. Or if it's just, if it's really bad, then I guess you got nothing to lose. Go for it. But that's just, ouch. That's harsh. Did Kanye West sabotage Teyana Taylor's album? Teyana weighs in. This is an article by Megan Fredette on Refinery 29. And Teyana did an interview. Well, this kind of overviews it. This is another think piece about what happened with KTSE. Which, as with most of these think pieces, I do think that there's reason to talk about what happened with Teyana's album, of course, but I feel like a lot of the articles have maybe blown it out of proportion or missed some details or had some false views on things. Like at one point in this article, they talk about West released Teyana's album without accompanying visuals or even a single. But none of the 5 albums of the Wyoming project had a single, you know? It's not like Ye had a single, Daytona didn't have a single, the albums just dropped. There wasn't accompanying visuals, anything like that. So her album wasn't this black sheep of the rest. That 4 of the 5 of them had this happen, and then this one was outside of it. All the issues that I think people are raising with Teyana's album are issues that are, for the most part, applicable to all the releases except maybe Pusha's. Pusha's coming first. It came out at the appropriate time, and it had the cleanest production, I think people have said. And it also got the controversy of the $85,000 license photo. But Ye didn't really get that. It had the listening party. Daytona didn't. KTSE had a listening party. So do people want to say that because Daytona didn't have a listening party, Kanye West sabotaged Pusha T? People are pointing to the low figures for Teyana's album, but there's still better figures than what Teyana's previous album release. And the fact that that album came out so many years ago, I think maybe you can make the argument that the numbers that she did happened because she was part of this June rollout and part of the Wyoming project rather than just coming out with music on her own. If there had been a single or visuals, would the album have sold that much better than riding the wake of everybody wanting to listen to all of these projects? I don't know. We'll never know, but I think that would be the counter argument. But we do get details. Taylor also claimed that she intended for the record to be a lot longer than 23 minutes. Indeed, she alleged that Never Would Have Made It should have included 2 additional verses. I've got 2 whole other verses that didn't make it. The first verse was about my mom. The second verse was about her daughter, Junie. And the third verse was just about anyone who ever doubted me. That didn't make it. So all you hear is Junie's voice in the background, and then you hear the verse about my mom. I felt a way. I noticed everything that was not done. That's not the version that I heard. And she said she never heard the final version before it was released. A shortened version shocked me upon its release dates. While also, she wrote on Instagram while also thanking West for his contributions to the record. Taylor also says that she wanted to avoid disappointing her fans by only giving them 23 minutes. I get it too. When I published my first novel, there were some parts of it that me and the publisher, Michael, who did the Yeezus book, went back and forth on. Like, we need to have this. This is crucial to the scene. And he's saying it just doesn't, people aren't going to want to read it. It's too much. It's too long. And I was like, no, this is art. People are going to love it. And he cut it. And it was ultimately, I think, better. But still, I want that shit in there because I'm the artist that wants that, right? And that's what I'm trying to say, and that's what I'm trying to do. But on the other hand, you have to balance what the reader wants and what the reader will put up with. And I think my repeating a long section that references Virginia Woolf's To the Lighthouse for the third time in like 5 pages probably wasn't going to be read anyway. So he made the right call. That's not to say that maybe every call that Kanye West made on Teyana's album is appropriate, that the longer version would have been better, but I think it just also goes to show that artists behind the scenes will always have these back and forths about what's necessary and what's not necessary, what works and what doesn't work, and the artist is almost always going to argue for things not being cut rather than being cut. I think we'd have to hear both versions to see who's right about it. It's kind of like when you watch deleted scenes on DVD extras from movies. You kind of watch a scene and are like, okay, I get why that wasn't part of it. Like, it was kind of cool, but I get it. But maybe these verses would have been fire, you know? Or maybe an album that was 35 minutes would have been awesome. But I'm very happy with what we got from Teyana. I do wish some of the other tracks made it on that didn't get the license clearance. And I hope we get to hear them at some point. But I do think that there's way more being made about Teyana's album for the negative than from the positive. But, I mean, if that's publicity that really helps her album gain more fans, gain more loyalty, gain more listens over time, great. It's all kind of short-term shit at the end of the day. Chance the Rapper says Kanye West is heading to Chicago to produce his new album. And this is kind of an update. We knew that Chance said he was going to be working with Kanye on it, but he said that it's actually going to be happening in a week. Working under him, working with him on his albums is crazy, but having him tell me that he wants to produce my album and come to Chicago is like, this month we're working in Chicago. So it's pretty fucking awesome. I wonder how long it'll take to come out. Is Kanye giving himself more runway at this point where they're going to record and we'll have a couple months? Or is it going to be record, week later, it's fucking out? I'm good with either. Like, I want the music sooner, but I also want the music done. You know, it takes some time to license songs. What else do we got? Only a few more, I think. Oh, God damn, Complex. Keeps switching articles up on me. Dennis Rodman wants to record a song with Kanye West about leaders of love. So this is in the wake of Kanye having tweeted at Dennis Rodman that... I thought they had a picture of it. Okay. But Kanye had tweeted, thank you, to Dennis Rodman that Dennis was one of his biggest inspirations, and it was a signed jersey of Rodman's with the signature made out to Kanye. And here is Dennis Rodman saying, love your work, love your style, love your wife, your kids are beautiful. Hey man, I thought about something. Let's me and you do a track together about world peace, about leaders of love, about leaders of love. You're one, I'm one. Let's get together, baby, and do this right. I should have looked it up beforehand, but I feel like Dennis Rodman tried rapping at one point and released a song at one point, but I can't remember, and I'm kind of scared to look it up. So if you can look that up and listen to it and let me know how it is, be much appreciated. So Scooter Braun is working with Kanye West again. Fader detailed a little bit of it, but if you go to the source, oh no, we got a little bit more. If we go to the source, you get Alexis Petridis talks about this, and it's a lot of content with Scooter, and it's not in the Q&A format. It's just more of an overview with quotes peppered in. So the first one, his relationship with his most wayward artist, Kanye West, is back on after a rough couple of weeks in which West fired him, apparently enraged at Braun's refusal to get rid of all his other clients and work solely with him. Which, I don't know if that description is a bit editorialized. It seemed that from the press releases that Kanye wanted everybody working in-house. And at the time, it was simply like, hey, Scooter, if you want to keep being my manager, you're going to have to be in-house and work only for us. Are you cool with that? And Scooter saying no, and then being like, okay, great. Like, let's part ways. But maybe Alexis has more information than I have just from the press releases that are obviously going to tone things down. But wanted to bring in that perspective. West announced that he couldn't be managed. Braun favorited the tweet in a media rampage that also included doubling down on his support for Donald Trump and appearing on TMZ to suggest that slavery was a choice, which also mischaracterizes things. It's condensed for, I guess, brevity, but Kanye had announced that he couldn't be managed and then later tweeted the support for Trump, which I think it was a week later. And then it was a week after that he went on TMZ. It wasn't all just one day of chaos, though it fucking felt that way when you run a Kanye West podcast, do these videos, and have the Twitter that we have. Jesus. But a key thing here is that we all wondered about Kanye's mental health in that time period. And that article that we referenced earlier said it's dangerous to assign those things to Kanye's mental illness. But here, Braun seems to confirm that it was a manic moment brought on by the rapper's bipolar disorder. West subsequently called me up and said, we've had a great thing for the last couple of years, and in the last 2 weeks, I think a lot of things have got out of hand, and we're brothers, come help. I really do love the guy. We'll see how long it lasts, but I'll always be a friend to him. We're not going to use the word manager. It's not a word that he likes. That's not surprising. Nor does it really describe our relationship. I see myself as an advisor and a partner in his efforts. And then it goes through more of Braun's history, his history with Bieber, how he felt about it, him being courted by the Democratic National Convention to run as a Democrat in politics. And eventually it gets to him being on stage. He is mid-Ems, which I have no fucking idea what that is. Big Star Booking, the first recipient of its Hall of Fame award. The audience greets him like a conquering hero. He tells them that anyone who says they make their own luck is an asshole, and that Kanye West doesn't have a malicious bone in his body, which I think a lot of the people close to Kanye have been more forgiving of Kanye's Trump support and TMZ interview, because this isn't the first person to say that they know that Kanye means well, doesn't want to hurt anybody, is always trying to do what he thinks is best for the conversation and for people, rather than coming at it from a selfish place, despite his reputation for narcissism, you know? He told me exactly the same thing earlier. This is the interviewer. What a great guy he is in person, how much he cares about people, how those who make fun of him are mocking someone dealing with mental health issues. There are things he has said that I vehemently disagree with. Do I let him off the hook? No, I have conversations and I try to push the points of where I am, and I wish the world could get to hear what he's saying in those private conversations, because I think it would explain a lot and also clarify what he really meant. But you know, he shrugs, he's Kanye. What would your best advice be for him to just keep off social media? There's a pause and for once an Yeah, I mean, look, if you're in a good place, yeah, go on social media. And then, like the politician he may become, Braun neatly changes the subject. But I also say I'm more concerned with the president of the United States being on social media than I am with Kanye West. So, I really like this interview. I think it gives a lot of, I mean, obviously it's very pro-Kanye, but I think it gives a lot of insight to from somebody that's worked with Kanye for a long period of time. And I think comes off in Kanye's benefit. I think still being upset with what he said is completely understandable, and I never tell somebody they shouldn't be upset by it, but I think if the people closest to Kanye are forgiving and understanding because they have more context of who he is, that the conversation that he's just a conservative asshole, that he's lost his blackness, all this dramatic shit, isn't quite appropriate. Yeah. And now a few last things. Kim and Kanye attend North's fashion show. Saint gets emotional. So just some Kim and Kanye news. North did a fashion show at a design camp. So that's where they're at. By the numbers, breaking down Kanye West's unprecedented 5-week good music run. And you just get a lot of graphs about really a lot of dumb but interesting topics. So cool to check out. I'm glad somebody's taking the time to do it, and I'm glad somebody hopefully got paid for this kind of work. 5 Ways We Can Get Jay-Z and Kanye West to Become Friends Again by Drew Landry. I almost feel like this was something that Travis and I would have done in a bonus episode or in a Kanye news episode. Just like 5 absurd ways. Force them to record Watch the Throne 2 at gunpoint. Impeach Trump so Kanye's support feels irrelevant. Have Kanye blast a love song outside Jay-Z's window with a boombox. Jay-Z can rush through the airport and stop Kanye before he boards a plane to Paris to study abroad for the summer. The Parent Trap Method. So, a joke article. Some fun. If you like to have fun, read this. And then Donna Claire Chessman, who writes a lot of great articles for DJ Booth about Kanye, talks about Teyana detailing her confusion around the Kanye-led KTSE album rollouts. And this differs from the Think piece that we got earlier, as it details a little bit more about what was going on behind the scenes. Teyana says, at first I didn't know it was going to be a 5-album thing until we had our last meeting. And we were talking about the album, and then Kanye said he was working on his and Pusha. I know me and Pusha was supposed to come out around the same time. Once he said his and everybody else, I was a little nervous at first. I ain't trying to be up in the middle of that. The Nas gonna be crazy, blah, blah, blah. I was kind of just going with the flow. At the same time, I just wanted music out. I didn't care how that shit had to happen, whether it was separate rollout, whether it was 5 albums. I didn't know ahead of time that there would be no singles, no visuals. I didn't know none of that, but I knew it was going to be the 5-album thing. Kanye wanted my album to be last, you know, the biggest. That's the way they sauced it up. And then Donna weighs in on some of it, so if you want to read about that, that article will be linked below. And then hopefully we're almost fucking done. I'm so sorry. Kim Kardashian, the important reason she encourages cell phone hours at home with her kids. If you want some insight into the family life of Kim and Kanye, then People has it. And that's it. That's fucking it. If you really want to help the channel, we're trying to monetize and need to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're at 587 right now. Thank you to the people that have subscribed. Even if you never want to watch one of these again, I definitely appreciate the subscription. And then we have the Yeezus book out. Shit's right here. It's glorious. It's a full sonic narrative and thematic deconstruction about Yeezus, but also doubles as a, whatchamacallit, collector's item about the album. It has, you know, over 10 pieces of original art inspired by Yeezus, is fully designed. So it's at once a coffee table book and something that will change the way that you view the album forever and ever. It's the work of myself, my co-host Travis, rap analysis is Martin Connor, and the most unruly's Donald Martin. So if you want to support all of us in one fell swoop and support a small press out of Portland, this is the way to do it. And if you purchase through Kingshot Press, then you get a lot of goodies that I thought I had linked up, but I don't. But you get some bonus, like a little chat book with all of the Yeezus rants during the tour, the song lyrics, and some other odds and ends. But if you just want to get the book as quick as possible, Amazon is your friend. And then lastly, if you want some merch, we have some shirts available. We have a Runaway shirt and a Hold My Liquor shirt, and the Runaway's got explicit and clean. And all those profits go to us specifically. So if you want to help this show grow, we have this, the Patreon, and other methods. And that would be much appreciated, as we're just a small two-man effort trying to make this a full-time thing. But thanks for staying with me through this long-ass video. The rest through the week shouldn't be longer as we're caught up on the weekend news. And I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.